Kevin, thank you so much for joining us on This is Purdue, the official university podcast. Tell us a little bit about your Boilermaker career, why you chose Purdue, and you've come back. What does it mean to you today?
No, it's a big deal. I mean, without Purdue, who knows where I'd be? And there's a bunch of people that have been very influential in my life. I just told the story about a man named Jerry Simler who he probably had, 6 kids go to Purdue, was a big-time John Purdue Club person, brought me to a game, and I saw the atmosphere. And for a guy who, and a lot of people don't know this, that when we moved to Indiana, I actually lived in married student housing at IU. Behind it.
Oh, wow.
yeah. And so that was, grew up there and then moved to Indianapolis, and the rest is history. And another guy took me to Notre Dame games all my life. And when I got to Purdue, it was a special feeling, and I'm very, very happy, just because it's the relationships that I have to this day, and with people and who have affected my life have been are great. And there's nothing there I would trade.
Pete Quinn just told us you were actually a walk-on.
Yeah.
Tell us the story behind your football career.
It's kind of, I don't know. Everybody makes it, they said legend. I'm no legend. I just came out and played a little football, and I was, from the day I got there, I actually got on the field, and at that time, we played Notre Dame the first game, and if you were redshirted, you didn't dress, and so I didn't dress. Right? And then the next week we were going to Miami, who were defending national champs, and Coach Burtnett said, "Hey, look, the best people are going to get on this plane and go play Miami." And I said, "All right." And so on Thursday he said, "Look, you're not going to play in the game, but you're going. You had a great week." And I look up and I'm in the game. So after that, I never came off the field, and I'm forever indebted. There's a guy named Joe Tiller, was a defensive coordinator. And so I've known him since I was 18 years old, knew him since I was 18. And, besides my dad, he's probably the most influential man in my life.
That's amazing. Tell us a little, a background story, or maybe something, your favorite football memory from Purdue. There's probably a lot.
There's a lot. I mean, I've played there, I've coached there. To be on a team that beat Notre Dame, Michigan, and Ohio State was a big deal in '84.
Yeah.
To not go to the Rose Bowl was a bigger deal, and then to come back as a coach and actually get to the Rose Bowl was amazing. And what an opportunity that I was given, and how life works. But to be able to be a part of those types of things, to see players, and then also, to have teammates that I vacation with, Ray Wallace, and we go, and guys that I played with, that we're still friends to this day. It's just it's a real blessing.
You talked about Coach Tiller. Would you say that was one of your greatest mentors within your life?
Yeah, he besides yelling at me every day, it's back in those days, right? You had only one guy could come to the bench, right? Not the whole team. So I got heat for everything, and then he became the offensive coordinator at Washington State. And I went out there with Bill Doba, was a position coach too, and ended up being the head coach at Washington State. But I actually moved over to offense, and he gave me my first job at the University of Wyoming when he became a head coach. And like I said, besides my dad, it's a man I've known since I was 18, and I left and went to Minnesota, which he was not very happy about, and watched Mike Allstott just run up and down the field against us, and then came back to Purdue with him, and he's a great man, visionary, really changed football, as we know it with, empty, and then, with Drew, and we had a bunch of really good players, but his vision and how he did things, and our success, I think, really helped a lot of different people, but I think it put Purdue back on the map again.
That's amazing. Any other, professors, favorite classes at Purdue?
Professors, they're all, shoot, I had to spend extra time there because of our time in football, right?
Yeah.
But I did have a counselor that was in athletics, Tanya Foster, who you would get your classes on campus, then you bring them back, and she would put them together, and then the academic support that Purdue provides, particularly when you're tired as hell at 6 o'clock at night, right? And then you might have a physics test tomorrow, and to be able to get the information, do all those different things, and be organized. I wasn't ready for that. I don't, it's just a different situation. So Tanya Foster really taught me how to do that, brought me into that lifestyle of, hey, look, do this, and this, and you're going to be fine. So, yeah, without people, let's go. Without people in your life like that, I mean, it's difficult, but again, Purdue is a place where those kind of people, and there are many others, but she had a definite effect in my life.
Any other, stories or thoughts on this Boilermaker community, like after all these years? What does that mean to you?
Well, I tell you, it's crazy because, when you play there, that's one thing. So I vacationed with a guy named Ray Wallace and a bunch of other guys that we played together. Talked to Rod, talked to Chris Dishman, talked to a bunch of those guys, Jim. But when I've got both sides of it. So getting back here and seeing Vinny Sutherland over here, and Chris Daniels back at games, Matt Light, Drew, just being at games. So for me, it's kind of two-tiered. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And because of that, it's I have a lot of relationships from the top all the way to the bottom with players, and I think that's important. That's really part of the whole experience that I wanted to have. I didn't know that at 18.
Right.
When I was just trying to get on the field, and then over time, you learn some things, and then those people, as you get older, life's about relationships, and those relationships are always valuable to me, and I think that's the best thing that you can say as a man, like later on in life, that that people actually want to talk to you, and they're like you. Yeah, they keep yelling at me now, so that's all right.
They're not distracting at all.
Here's the best part about not coaching: they're not booing me right now, or calling me names. It's great.
What do you think about our new hire, Coach Walters?
Coach Walters is going to be great. Ryan, I've talked to Ryan a couple times. He called. With any luck, the last one in the family will come to school here, because the other three did not. I'm not mad about that, but we had some conversations about that, and he's a lot better than I was, so we'll see. But I think Ryan's vision and what he's laid out to everyone has been consistent. I think the players understand. He did a great job at Illinois last year, defensively. I think there's nothing but upside with Ryan.
Anything else you want to tell our listeners, the faithful Purdue football base?
No. I'm just happy to be around. I'm back. See, you see this? See that? And that was Vinny Sutherland. Right?
Oh.
He's still yelling. He gets to yell at me
Hey,
now.
we got to get him over here and tell
No.
us some stories
Oh,
about you.
okay. Well, yeah, that won't be good. You better have the 5-second delay.
Okay.
No, but but guys like that, right? He's finally able to say that, which is good. But I just, the reason I'm here is because, as I said before, the ability to be around and a university and an athletic department. I think that Mike Babinski's doing a great job.
Yeah.
I was at a ranch with some guys in West Texas. They were doing some stuff. I'm like, no, turn the basketball game on. They're like, oh my gosh, Purdue's #1? I was like, yeah, fools.
Yes. I had my IU best friend. What? Purdue's ranked #1? Yeah.
Right. Well, that's there you go. So, it's pride, and I see people in airports. I travel a bunch, but even I was in Tucson, Arizona, and a lady walked by me in the grocery store with their flying P on, and I said, boiler up. She says, boiler up.
Yeah.
So, I mean, pride is a big deal, and it's a great thing to be a part of a university that has a world-class education, and that is recognized nationally for athletics and education. And I'm just fortunate to be a part of it.
That was perfect. It's like we paid you to say that. Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
That's all right. Thank you so much.